As I'm sure you've all heard, and let me tell you, I've been reading your comments, lots of shock. Former President Donald Trump became the first president in U.S. history to be indicted. A New York grand jury voted to indict him over hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in 2016. Now, Trump was seen out of his home in Mar-a-Lago last night with Melania, enjoying dinner with guests. He was reportedly shocked to hear the news. And on his social media, Trump maintained his innocence and called the indictment, quote unquote, an attack on our country. Now, meanwhile, Trump's attorney was on all the morning shows. Here's what he said on the Today Show.
This is a historic case, a monumental case, a case that will have wide-reaching ramifications. And it really, today, I feel very concerned about the rule of law in this country because it endangers the rule of law for all Americans. Today it's Donald Trump. Tomorrow it's a Democrat. The day after it's, I don't know, your friend. The day after that it's you or me. You know, President Trump will not take a plea deal in this case. It's not going to happen. There's no crime. I don't know if it's going to make the trial because we have substantial legal challenges that we have to front before we get to that point.
So we have a lot of questions about this case. I know you do too. So we wanted to go straight to the source with New York public defender and former candidate for Manhattan DA. You may also recognize her from both Survivor and The Amazing Race. Please welcome attorney Eliza Orlins.
Yeah, Eliza.
So much for joining us. Thank you.
Hi, so happy to be here with you all.
Eliza, thanks for being here. Let's jump right in. What do we know about the charges in this case? Let's simplify it a little bit.
Well, right now, no one knows anything about the charges. The indictment is still sealed, even though we know that they have voted it out. But we won't find out until Trump is arraigned on those charges. We are hearing that it is a 34-count indictment and that it all stems from the hush money that was paid to Stormy Daniels via Michael Cohen.
All right. Well, you know, we just heard from Trump's attorney, and, you know, there are a lot of legal questions in this case that has been brought by Alvin Bragg. You know, it's not a slam dunk. So what are the holes in this case that you see?
Well, Joe Tacopina is a very talented attorney. I have seen him try cases in Manhattan Supreme Court, and he knows what he's doing. And he is up against, you know, not just the Manhattan DA's office, but these witnesses who have made many public statements, who've appeared on podcasts, you know, people like Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen, who haven't always been the most consistent, reliable witnesses. And I think that he will certainly know how to cross-examine them and poke holes in the DA's case, especially because he says this case is going to trial and Trump will not be taking a plea.
All right, so subpoena, grand jury, lots of big words, right? Let's get down to what people really want to know about. What happens next? Will Trump get arrested? All right. Are we going to see the mugshot? Are we going to see handcuffs, fingerprints? And also, I'd love to know, will he be in a prison cell overnight, or can he leave after he gets arrested or surrenders himself? Sorry, that's a lot of questions.
I'll try and do all of them. So next steps are Trump gets arraigned on this indictment. Because this was what's called an NA indictment, a no arrest indictment, that means he's not going to come through central booking in the same way that someone would when they're just arrested on the street and brought in through criminal court. He will arrange for a surrender. Joe Tacopina has already said that his client will surrender. And so you won't see Trump in handcuffs or arrested in the typical way that you would see, you know, on Law and Order, for example. Right. But you will see he has to be fingerprinted. That's part of the processing when you are charged with a crime. There will be a photograph taken of him, a mugshot, if you will. Whether or not that's released to the public remains to be seen. But I doubt Trump will ever spend a single night in jail, at least with regards to this case. I can't imagine that it's even bail eligible or that bail would be set, especially given his lack of criminal record and a bunch of other factors, you know, how public he is and that he arranged for a voluntary surrender. So I don't think all the people who are salivating about the potential of him going to Rikers Island, I don't think that's going to happen.
He's not going to the Rock. Okay.
If it was an everyday person.
What about Tori's other 11 questions?
I'm done.
Okay. If it was an everyday person.
Did I get all of them?
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much.
If it was me or you, would we end up spending a night in jail? Is it because it's such a public figure that he's not going to spend the night in jail?
Well, I think certainly this case is unprecedented in that way. I mean, this is the first time a former president has ever been charged criminally. So is it because of his wealth and power and privilege? Most likely, yes. Most of my clients are just arrested if there's an arrest. If there's an indictment, cops go to their home, drag them from their home at 6 o'clock in the morning, drag them to court, and then I get a phone call that's, Eliza, please come arraign your client. It's not this courtesy that's provided to Trump. He's already getting special treatment.
Yes, I want to make that known, and it's not because it's Trump. It frustrates me that the wealthy top 1%,
the white collar
doesn't get arrested on a Friday, has to spend the whole week.
You remember when Harvey Weinstein was charged? The same thing happened. He was able to turn himself in to go there to get arraigned.
It's not okay.
He had a prearranged. He actually did have to pay a $1 million bond, but that was preset, and he paid it and never spent a night in jail until after he was convicted unanimously by a jury.
Unbelievable. Okay, so I have to ask you this because a lot of our viewers are wondering the same exact question. Trump is obviously running for president again. Will this affect his run? How will it affect his run?
Well, it won't affect his run in that he's being charged with a crime. Even if he were convicted of a crime legally, there's nothing that bars him from running for president, even given that. But I'm sure that Trump, the PR master, will be using this to whip up support, to tell his supporters that he's being politically prosecuted, and that, he'll probably turn this into a positive for himself in some way.
Well, I'm asking this question.
What can I say?
I wanted to ask this question on behalf of our show, but also all of social media. When will this trial start? Because this is going to be huge. And what do you think it'll be televised?
Oh, Al, I mean, it's so funny because people see a 45-minute episode of Law & Order and think that a trial happens like that. But in reality, I have cases where my clients were arrested in March 2020 that are just going to trial now, 3 years later. The wheels of justice move slowly. It is going to be potentially years until this case goes to trial. But also, given the notoriety of the case, it's possible things get expedited. But of course, there are always pretrial things that need to be dealt with that can't be rushed. Statutorily, there are time periods that the lawyers are entitled to. So I can't say when it'll go to trial, but I think it'll be a while. And will it be televised? They've never had video cameras in the courtrooms. This isn't like a civil trial. This isn't like the Gwyneth Paltrow or Johnny Depp trials, which are civil in nature and have cameras rolling the whole time. This is a criminal case. And rarely, if ever, do we even see photographs inside of a courtroom, let alone videography. So people should not expect to be able to watch this live.
Eliza, do you expect, sorry, Tori, to jump in. Do you expect, I know there's a number of investigations on separate issues. Do you expect any other charges or indictments with other possible alleged criminal acts?
Well, it does sound like Fani Willis in Georgia has a pretty solid case that they are working up. So it was always kind of a competition. I was wondering which DA would indict him first, whether it would be Manhattan or Georgia. But it's hard to say. Fulton County may also bring criminal charges.
Yeah, just very quickly, I was going to say, do you think this is the tip of the iceberg for where we're going to see Georgia? You answered that question, and now I'm just...
That's what I just...
Yep.
Sorry, Tori.
Yep.
Well, it's hard to believe that the tip of the iceberg, it's hard to believe he's even being charged at all. I mean, it kind of felt like Teflon Don was never going to face any accountability or repercussions for his actions.
Do you think he'll face charges in Georgia? I'm curious.
Tori was trying to make it a lot more legally sound because I didn't know how to put it. So thank you, Tori.
Absolutely.
But Eliza, thank you so much for being here.
You were great.
And answering all of our questions. We appreciate you. Eliza.
I think Tori's questions are still going somewhere in the universe.
Eliza will be following this case and giving updates on her Instagram. So make sure that you follow along at Orlins. Thanks again, Eliza.
Thanks, Eliza.
Appreciate you.